who knows where posted that, and that was a thing in like Lansdale. We're here. We're live. We're coming at you. I'm Terry Fitzgibbons. He's Bill Ganner. The dishes are done, man. I meant to say Terrence Fitzgibbons and William Ganter, but I noticed it was already going. I didn't catch it go live.
It's always good.
What's up, man?
Lots of nostalgia. Lots of nostalgia this week.
For you?
Well, you sent over that like Jude thing yesterday.
Who was that?
Or Rye did, or somebody. Do you ever
Smith?
Do you ever hate? Oh yeah, Smith. Do you ever hate like when you get text messages from like a bunch of people and then there's like one number in it and you're like, I don't know who this person is. This could be somebody writing for the Wall Street Journal and they're gonna take whatever I say and be like, it could be like that person's grandma. You don't know like who's in it.
Dude,
it drives me nuts.
That's such a funny thing because it's fairly new. Mm-hmm. And I bet you everybody has been on a thread where you're like, I don't even know where that area code is.
Well, it's also like, I feel like we used to lose all our phone numbers a lot, so there was kind of an excuse to it, where it's like, oh, got a new phone. Oh, got a new phone. But then phones the phone companies got smarter about transferring it. So now like your phone number is like your social security number. Like you're just going to have it until you die.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so like it just kind of follows you along. And so to come across like a number you don't know feels really frightening. Right. Like you're like, oh, like I don't know anything about this thing.
Way.
And everyone keeps talking and you don't know if like you want to laugh more or hate them because they're funnier than you or something, like you don't know how to like base that struggle. It's really tough. The tough life we live. I'm drinking soda tonight, by the way. I don't know why. It's been in the fridge for like 7 years. It's Sunkist.
It's like since the Clinton administration.
You know what it was? We get those food trucks in Philly and you get like a halal or something like that or Chinese food. Mm-hmm. And because Philly has like a soda tax, they don't charge you for the soda. You just are given the soda, right? Because the soda alone would cost something like $2 for a can of soda with the tax. So all the food trucks are like, yeah, you get a soda for free, but they stopped really offering water because most people like a lot of people pick soda, but most people pick water. And then, So they just give it to you. So I got like a dinner one night at Halal and they're like, grab something. And I'm like, I don't really want a soda. They're like, grab something. I'm like, okay. So I just like grabbed like an orange soda. It's just been sitting in the fridge for like months now. So
what's Halal?
It's like, I don't really know. Halal is like the actual, like, it's like kosher, I guess. It's kind of like a certain way of preparing the meat. That's like how, like, I think it's how it's killed and stuff like that. I don't know, not an expert. I just know there's a halal section in the grocery store and there's halal meat markets, and that's where you're supposed to get the food from. But mainly it's kind of like a shawarma-esque, like I normally get like chicken over rice and stuff, and then there's like a hot sauce and a white sauce. It can range from like terrible to like really good, like
fantastic, right? Like Chinese food.
I had there's like a halal guy's chain, and I thought, oh, like maybe I'll try that because it's consistent, and then if I see it like on the road or something, then I'll go there too. And it was terrible. I thought it was like the worst halal I've ever had. But then I was like, well, what did I expect? It's not like if I went to like some place in like Chicago for like amazing fried chicken that they brine overnight, or I go to KFC and I'm like, oh, why does this not taste as good? Like, that's just dumb on me. Like I should have just realized that. But
it's like somebody complaining to the woman at the little, station in the airport about the sushi not being great.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like, can I speak to the manager, please? It's like, no, it's your fault. You chose this path.
Right. Unless you're from another planet. Yeah. You've been in society long enough to be aware that this is just thing that
we know what we're doing. You should know what we're doing. the fact that this transaction even happened just shows the downfall of
Worries us.
society.
Worries us all.
Yeah.
And
You
it's
bought
like,
it and we were like, bad idea. Like, come on.
or we were like, you're about to die of starvation, and you need, for some reason, that's the only thing.
We thought you were just coming here for the weight loss. Right. You know, it was funny. We went shopping in a place called like Ollie's Discount. I don't know, Emporium or something. It's like there's a chain of those as well. They're kind of like
Oh
these.
yeah, I know Ollie's.
I had never been to one. I had seen it like advertised, but
Yeah,
we were in New
yeah.
Jersey at the mall,
Yeah,
and then
I've seen the advertisement.
it was like off in the distance, and I was like, oh, can I? You know, like when you're shopping and you're completely done, but then there's like one shop that maybe you want to go to. Like it's like, hey, do you want to spend 6 hours in J.C. Penney? No, I don't. I
It
don't. There's nothing
happens
I need there.
happens like once a year.
I could be pantsless and I still wouldn't want to go into JC Penney and like because I need pants. Like I'd just be like, no, I'll just order some on Amazon later. But
Right, and then there's a lids, and you're like,
oh yeah, but then the lids always gets me because there's like a sign on the outside and you'll see some awesome hat. You'll go in and be like, oh my gosh, I want that. Like I saw one with all the Major League Baseball logos on it.
oh, nice.
And I was like, oh, that looks cool. I thought I'd get it for Leo because he's like trying to memorize all the teams and stuff. So I was like, all right, yeah, like give me the hat that's like on the poster. And they're like, we don't have that. I'm like, then why is it on the damn poster that's the size of the whole window outside and you don't have that hat?
It's like putting a Spider-Man 4 starring Tobey Maguire poster outside the theater.
Yeah.
It's like, is
this what's happening?
Did this happen?
But Ollie's is kind of like this last stop shop for everything that didn't sell at like Target and other places. So there's kind of like a food section. There's a really big like book section, which is pretty good because
Nice.
you could probably pick up like kids books for cheap. Like some stuff was like okay, some stuff was like still a normal price. They had a lot of like it's kind of fun to go see what movies failed. Like you can tell like what movies failed. So there was you know, a whole bunch of the what's the guy, the Submariner, you know, just like there's a whole row of like Submariner action figures, all $3. It's like there's thousands of them. There's like a million Buzz Lightyears.
Sure.
Like everything's just left there. So that's kind of fun.
She-Hulk.
It's like everything that didn't sell is there. But I picked up
bargain outlet.
I picked up I thought I had a score because I saw Applejack flavored Pop-Tarts. And I was thinking, I'm like, all right, okay. Like
what's on
brand merging, right? So Applejack's cereal, like the orange and the green cereal with red specks, which I assume is the apple.
No, that is the apple. That makes it.
That's the
that
apple,
makes the
right?
Jacks have apple.
Yeah, they're like, okay, now there's the apple.
The Jacks now have apple taste.
I always love that cereal, but I mean, it's it's terrible. Like whatever it is, it's as far away from what it's telling you it is as it can possibly be.
Cereal is a mystery of humanity. Actually, it's not.
But then you take that and you put it like in Pop-Tart form, and so we're driving home, and Kelly like rips one open and gives, because she's like, what snack do you want? You know, because now we just finished everything, and I had a choice between sour cream Pringles and these Pop-Tarts. So she like ripped one open and she's like, all right, here's a Pop-Tart, and I'm eating it, and she proceeds to do the worst thing that you could possibly do while eating a Pop-Tart, is read the ingredients of the Pop-Tart to the person eating it. And it instantly gave me flashbacks to you when we did the John and Agnew show, you eating the McRib live.
Oh, wow, yeah.
While I was reading the ingredients to you, you were like, I don't know, it's kind
sweaty.
of like, yeah, you're like, it's very mushy. And then we looked up the ingredients and found that like one of the main ingredients was also in yoga mats, right? So it was like
it's more tingly than hot.
Same polymer.
All right, it's wrestling shoes.
But the in the Pop-Tart, there's like some ingredient, like I can't remember what it is right now. It's like TDM. It's like 3 letters. It's right in the middle, really big.
Oh, no.
It's like one of the main ingredients. And when you look it up, it's like it's like a neurotoxin.
What?
I'm like, what did I have? And it also had obviously
Syntox gas.
Like one Pop-Tart has like 50% of your daily sugar. That you should have, all day long. And it was disgusting. It was really bad.
TBHQ. Wait, where did it go? Yeah, TBHQ for freshness.
Yeah, TBHQ. So look up what TBHQ.
I'm gonna cross-reference. Oh shit! I got too excited. I was trying to be Chloe.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
It's an additive to preserve processed foods. It acts as an antioxidant, but unlike the healthy antioxidants you find in fruit and vegetables, it has a controversial reputation. Vague.
It's so funny when something. Nothing in your food should have a reputation. Like let's just leave it there, right?
Buddy hydroquinone.
Nothing.
Buddy hydroquinone.
Nothing you have in like apples shouldn't be, a conversation piece. They should have no reputation. You shouldn't be like, get those apples out of my house.
I just always think of Louis C.K.'s thing where he's like, if God came down now, and he's so confused as to why we're working. Well, we need to make money. Why? Because we need to eat food. I left it on the ground. And you ruined that.
There are trees.
I put it in trees. I left it on the ground. What happened to the polar bear? A number of studies have shown that prolonged exposure to very high doses of TBHQ may be carcinogenic.
Yeah.
Stomach tumors.
Now with added cancer.
So that's like...
So don't eat Pop-Tarts. It's basically... I think we all knew that.
I know. I remember...
I mean,
in my early 20s eating it at the dealership, when I was working.
That's right. Yeah,
cars,
because it was like the only
like
nourishing thing in there.
Sort of thing that
it's like that or Fritos
time is a meal. Right. Or
like,
just like a chocolate cupcake. It's like, that's not even.
It was like the most for your money too. It was like that or like one of those spiral bear claws or something. Like I don't want a friggin' bear claw.
Or a chocolate junior.
Yeah.
Don't even know why. Chocolate junior, senior. What is that's just cake.
Yeah, it is.
Cake.
It was just
Jackass.
Cake. So good. Probably the better choice. Probably. But
out of nowhere, Hannah's been wanting to read because she reads every night before bed.
Yeah.
Upon request, not because I'm a stickler. It's like she loves it. And,
I tell her to stop.
Dude,
I hide her
books.
books.
So funny. I have to punch myself mentally and be like, why are you trying to it's on the tip of my tongue to be like, we don't need to read. I don't know why. It's just like, to me, it was never enjoyable until I was older, but she loves it. And she found these books that I bought her when she was 2. And it's like all the female superheroes in DC, and then one with just the Justice League. And one is Shapes, and then one is just all about all the different girls.
Oh yeah, I think I remember
deep
that
cuts
one, yeah.
on there, like Raven and
they're spoilers, probably.
Bumblebee.
Right. Yeah,
but it's she can see Gotham City on a page and read it now.
That's awesome.
And Krypton.
Yeah, it gets deep. You're like, oh wow, I didn't know they were
you're learning words that most of the kids in your class aren't learning yet. Not just the made up ones like Krypton, but invented and just more advanced words than kindergartners are stumbling upon.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's funny.
I know. I was saying to Heather, I'm like, she wanted to read them. And I mean, the next step is comic books.
Actually,
I ran out of the room.
You're not far off, because the kids,
I know,
after a while, like the kids were reading like the kind of early books like that, like a lot of like Berenstain Bears and stuff like that. But then
I
they
remember reading those.
and there's like these like small books you can get, the like step 1, step
Yeah, yeah,
2.
yeah, yeah.
Those are really good, and they kind of, it's like big words, and they come in all different ones. And then when you go to step 2, it's almost like some of them are even the same book. It's just
Oh
with
yeah.
more words. And
Hannah
um,
has one, dude. It's like a Harley Quinn.
yeah, they're really good. So you can, and then you can like
I
collect a
forgot
whole
about
bunch
that.
of them. Like Leo just has like a whole, like he
Oh,
tries to keep them in order and stuff, which they don't come in. I wish they did. I wish they had like serial numbers,
oh
because it is
man,
sort of
that's
nerve
lazy.
wracking that they're completely sporadic and
There's
what
no
order they go.
continuity.
No.
Yeah.
So, but they're like the 2s get bigger, and then 3 and 4 get bigger. But they one thing that they then caught on to was Dogman. And
Dogman.
Dogman's like a comic book for kids. It's like all just like poop humor in it. Like
Oh
it's just
yeah.
diaper jokes and
Oh, Hannah said
hot
something
dogs.
about Dogman to me.
Like
I was like,
Dogman.
underdog?
No, the concept of
Scooby
Dogman
Doo?
was a cop and his dog um,
Merge.
explode. Like they like whatever villain, um, they get
Cat
caught with a bomb,
girl.
and they explode, and the dog's body is dying, but his head is okay, and the human's head is dying, but his body is okay. So they
Oh.
sew his dog's head to his body, and he becomes Dogman. And so he's like a police officer who has tendencies of a dog. So like when he sees his chief, he like jumps on him and like licks his face and stuff like that. And the chief's like, "Stop it! I
That's
need you to like
funny.
go investigate." And he kind of becomes like a superhero and stuff.
That's funny.
So it's funny. At first I was like this isn't um, the
Bit
greatest
bit morbid.
content, but it got them like really excited to go through it all. And then they were like, "Oh, can I like read one more chapter, and can I do the next thing?" And I was like, "Sure."
Oh, so it keeps
eventually
coming.
eventually like a year ago, we said like no picture books like at night, like no more picture books, like no picture
Oh.
books, no comics. You can read comics during the day, but no comics at night. And now they're on to like chapter books at night. So, but I mean, they're
Dogman,
also like 7 or
the Scarlet Shedder. Dogman 11, 20,000 fleas under the sea.
yeah, they're all like puns. It's like
So I like him. He reminds me of like Diary of a Wimpy Kid or like Doug,
yeah, it's
like
very
that
similar to
sort
like
of
the diary. I
animation.
think they have another one called Captain Underpants, and that one's like worse. So I would just try to stick with
Isn't
Dogman.
Captain Underpants Doug?
Oh no, that was Quail Man with the belt on his head.
And the underwear on the outside, like Superman.
But there is some like you could probably put them next to each other and make a case. But underwear on the outside, I mean, you'd probably say Superman started that whole thing.
Right, like the weightlifters in the circus.
I saw the James Gunn picture uh, of
Or
the
they ch-
logo. Like you sent me the one, but then somebody posted today of like the like more fabricy, and
they
it was
cut
in the
the
actual.
legacy out of the title.
Did they?
Yeah, it's just Superman. Because there's never been just a Superman. Isn't that weird?
Was it?
Because the first one was the movie, Superman the movie.
Was it?
Yeah. You'll believe a man can fly.
Was it? Oh no, it was Superman the motion picture. Was it? I think it
Superman the
was.
movie.
I think it was just Superman. I don't think so.
Yeah, Superman colon the movie. In
Hmm.
silver. In silver at the top, large from the left, shrinking to the right. I see it in my head.
The best was watching that with Leo the first time and just having him go like, "Are these credits over yet? Like, can we
Dude,
skip this?" And I was like, "Yeah, this was." I remember that just being the most painful thing as a kid, being like, "Am I still? Is the movie just going to keep going until it's just over?" and all I'm going to get are these. Like,
Yeah, is this it? That's Snow White and like Cinderella, they all have like this 7-minute credits
well, the
intro.
credits used to
I'm
be at the
like, you
beginning,
cocky asshole.
right? Like there were no credits at the end. All the credits were in the
Right.
beginning. But Superman doesn't have that excuse. They have that. Those are just like the front cards or whatever they're called. You know, like the
Flying
headliners.
names. The
Yeah,
flying names. That was like a big
it was
deal.
probably cool. You know, like in the '70s, you were probably like, you know, whoa.
I know.
And I still think they look cool, but after like there's like five too many.
Yeah. I know.
It's like
I'm like, I don't know who that character is. That's probably a stuntman's name.
yeah, it's somebody's cousin.
Yeah, like, speaking of movies, I've been kind of
Watching
sucked
movies.
into this. No, I haven't. I've been slacking. I'm going to see Dune tomorrow.
Oh.
Dune 2. This trial, Rust, Alec Baldwin, that cinematographer who was shot.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yep.
It's pretty wild how many people were kind of like half-assing it as like the people in charge of the guns.
Oh, you mean like the people that were like supposed to be the professionals on site?
Yeah, like the armorers and like the prop people that are on set that are supposed to be like making sure the bullets are fake.
Why would there even be a live bullet? Like why would there be like one live bullet?
Oh, because this one girl, this one armorer, like was careless with them, and they got like, I guess, mixed into real bullets by accident. I don't know. It's weird. It's like really complicated, and it's like, holy shit, like there's so much going on movie sets, and everyone there working, other than like the stars, probably are so like feel so pressured to not like piss anyone off or fuck up, because they'll get fired and then they'll never get a job again. You'll never work in this town again. It must just be miserable.
Yeah, I mean, I think most jobs are miserable. I think that's just like the genre. Yeah. And then if I thought about it, yeah, I could see somebody mixing up bullets. Like if I gave somebody a job, at my work or something like that, where I'd be like, hey, keep these bullets straight for the entire year. They might, but I could also see somebody, at least one person in the whole company that would mess them up pretty fast.
Yeah,
they'd be like, oh yeah, I'll just remember left is real bullets and right is fake bullets, because real starts with an R, and so the real ones are in the right ones and the left one, and it's already done. Everyone's dead. So
yeah, it's like, but then why did you pick that person to watch them? Wouldn't you pick like the person that's their specialty? And dude, these people.
Is this all advertised, by the way? Like, is it like all like you can watch the trial?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's like the same channel that covered the Depp trial that like that I watched. I'm like watching it through their YouTube channel. She's a lawyer, or she has her license. What is it called?
The bar.
Yeah, your license, right? The bar.
Well, yeah, you have license. Yeah.
She's a licensed lawyer in like 2 states. So like during specific like testimony, she'll pause it and she'll kind of like explain things that I would have never thought about.
Yeah.
So it's super helpful. And it kind of like helps what comes next make more sense and able to follow it better.
Mm-hmm.
Gives
you like the play-by-play and stuff. And elaborates like, all right, I know you're all thinking like they just got them, but that's not what's getting proven here, right?
Right. But then a lot of times she'll be like, and I don't think the jury will like that. And I'm like, well, if I was in the jury, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Like I would have like it's weird. It's like it's so human. It's so down to like the
Oh my gosh.
zillions of nuances for the 12 people. And it's like one little thing could like they've already decided, doesn't matter.
Dude, I mean, jury duty is by far my most favorite thing to do ever. If I could just be like forever jury person, like I'd be miserable, but I'd also be like super excited every day just to keep going back.
I know, man.
But people do like you go in and like people are like, "Yep, that guy's guilty," and I'm like, Why do you think he's guilty?" It's like his shirt was like so wrinkled. I'm like, what?
Have you done jury duty like more than once?
I have, yeah. I've done it 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I've never even been approached.
Oh, I do my best to just. I mean, I like it. It's.
You're probably like I remember that one movie where they like explain how they pick people, and you are like a perfect person because it's like I have no clue. Trying to read you. I don't know. I have nothing. There's nothing.
I also
There's no
like
agenda.
I really try not to like inject anything into it because it's just like it's so fun to just kind of like wipe, like when you're listening to everything, to just kind of wipe everything clean, like about yourself, like your history. Like it really kind of gets you in check for any sort of like bias you have in your head or anything like that.
And it's like very meditative. Like you're kind of super present.
And you get really like when you're in there with the jury, like you get very, it's kind of like being on a retreat almost.
Yes.
Because everybody needs to like, you're instantly going to figure out the person you hate, right? There's always going to be like at least one who's like just
right,
like boasting about themselves or something like that. They're like, well, when I adopted my dog, I'm like, what? Like that's not even what we're doing.
Like too much unnecessary personal information. Like this.
But a lot of things, like the other thing is like a lot of people don't understand is that, like I had one guy who was like, like he was argumentative, and I liked that he was argumentative because I didn't want to be like I normally would play devil's advocate if everyone's like, yep, like everybody's sure that somebody's guilty because like there's so much like weight to it. It's like on one hand, if you're wrong, you're sending an innocent person to jail. Right. And then if you're right, then cool, but you still don't feel good because you're still sending somebody to jail, and the sad things still really happened, and like one of it's kind of like you're admitting what actually happened, right? And then in the other case, like somewhere in there, someone's a liar, like somewhere in there, and you're not allowed to like use anything outside of what you're told. And sometimes they restrict how much you get told.
It's really tough.
And you're like, like, why wouldn't they just tell us like this thing? Or why wouldn't they tell us what they said at this like interview? Like, but they just give you like these like small clips because
it's not admissible.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes
it's not part of the evidence.
Sometimes there's multiple charges. And like if they already went through one thing and evidence was used like in that charge, then sometimes they can't use that evidence again. Or there's like something else like that one of the witnesses did or something like that would negate everything about what they said.
Tampering.
And then the other thing is like, sorry, I'll keep sorry. But like sometimes they're giving testimony, like they're giving testimony that they already gave 6 months ago.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right. Like, and the event happened like a year ago. Right. So you're trying to read somebody who's retelling a story that they, already wrote down, and they're probably just repeating it on how they wrote it down because now it's a year later and they're not as clear. It's not like they're sitting down in the chair right after it happening.
I bet they had like access to it so they could just listen to it over and over, make sure that they say everything, even though most people don't do that because they fuck up so many times.
But like, I mean, it's even like the victim, it's even like the person who it maybe happened to. Oh, right. Yeah, and they're like trying to relive it. And then you're like, that part doesn't really match up with the other thing that they just said. But then again, it's like a year ago. Like, so who remembers?
And then they're like, your memory's bad. So how can we trust anything you say? And it's like, exactly. Get me the fuck out of here.
Meanwhile, I was like since I was working in a job that had to do with like TV, I remember there was one part where they were questioning the victim, and they were asking her like what, like she said like the TV was on, and we were trying to like figure out what time everything happened. Like the time frame was really important because there was only
That's
like a
like my
certain amount of
favorite part.
there was like only a certain amount
Figuring
of
out
time
the
per hour.
timeline.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean that's a
It's
lot of
like
it.
it's like the clock comes in. That's the reason that damn thing keeps ticking. It's like how we figure out everything.
Well, because a lot of it was like, well, was he even there? Was he actually there? Was he not there? Like what? Like if he was somewhere else, he's got an alibi for being somewhere
Oh,
else. It's like,
right.
so what time was it? So I was like, oh, like what was on TV? Like she said the TV was on. I wanted to be like, oh, what was on the TV? Because we'll just go back to that night, figure out what like the schedule was,
Oh,
for what was on
yeah.
TV, and figure out exactly what was playing. Because you could
See
do
if
that
they're
back
telling
then.
the truth.
Yeah, but anyway, but
And
yeah,
did you do that?
well, no, but I did. I am very proud of myself for the first time I went because there was they had in one of the things they had mentioned that there was a Facebook post that the guy had done. Because we had proven everything. We had proved that he did an assault, but we couldn't be absolutely sure that he had a gun on him. Like there was a mention that he had a gun on him. The victim said she saw a gun.
Gun?
The cop said that there was a gun, but no gun was ever recovered. And so there was really no evidence of a gun. There was
No
like
murder
one
weapon.
sort of like, oh, I think I saw a gun, and she couldn't like describe it. So it was really tough to say, like, for absolute, like with no shadow of a doubt, was like there had to be a gun on him. And they had mentioned during in my notes, I had that they mentioned about a Facebook post that he had posted after the event had happened. And so it wasn't in our evidence pile that they had given us, because you had to kind of request the evidence to come. And so we were kind of like debating this, and I'm like, we really need to find out.
Right.
I'm like, I have in my notes, I'm like, does anybody else have in their notes that there was a Facebook post? And they were like, no. So we put it in like the thing, and it's like, hey, can we see the Facebook post? And it actually there was actual evidence for this, like a printout of the Facebook post. And in the Facebook post, it was his account, like like 2 hours after the events were supposed to happen. He's like, yeah, you're lucky, I had my gun on me right then, because I would have blown you all away. Like he basically said, like, I had my gun. And we were like,
oops.
And we were like, there it is.
Wow.
And it was like a conversation too. So it was like kind of like a long post back and forth conversation. Because I also brought up, like, hey, it could be somebody else like logged into his account, something like that. But the back and forth in it kind of made it be pretty obvious that it was him, and he knew about the events and stuff like that. So I felt pretty proud of myself, because I was like, there was like 5 charges, and 3 of them wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for that.
So were they all like violence related trials?
Yeah, I mean, both of them were rapes for me.
Oh God!
So it's not easy.
Were both men guilty?
Well, you assuming they were men? No, I'm just kidding. They were, but one was and one wasn't. So that was really tough.
Was the not guilty one, like, were you unsure?
We in both cases we were really unsure. Like, I wasn't sure about the other one until much later. We deliberated for like 2.5 days or something.
Wow.
Just like talking it out, because it was just
you
it was a lot.
11 strangers, and you're talking about other strangers. It's so fascinating. That's why 12 Angry Men holds up 100 years later.
You really end up bonding. I mean,
I bet
like a tough decision.
It's like, I remember, all right, we have to do this.
There was a lady I bonded with on the first one, because she was kind of one of the ones that
Always
were
the
saying like,
ladies.
oh, he's guilty. I looked at him. He's definitely guilty. Like, just look at him. He's guilty. And I mean, in the end, she was right. But I was like, but what are you basing it on?
But still,
Like, and she's like, I could just tell by like
it
looking
is
at him. I'm like, you can't do that.
yeah, it's like that's that's subjective, yo.
And I helped kind of open her eyes by saying, I'm like, well, you're treating this kind of like online dating. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well,
Ah,
every guy you come across in
that's
online
good.
dating is a creep until you actually like start talking to them or meet them. Right. But
Right.
as soon as you see them, you're like, oh, look at this creep on online dating. And she was like, yeah,
Right.
that's true. I do that. So I'm like, well, you're doing that right now. So let's just, I get that he's like disheveled, but they probably had to bring him in like jail clothes. And then he had to change into like some shirt that somebody like bought him from his family.
Right.
Like, and he got changed like in the room and it's not even like ironed or anything. So it's wrinkled.
Right.
I'm,
He's a criminal.
I'm like, let's kind
Well,
of put that part together. And it's like, yeah, but he wasn't even like, um, he wasn't like sad or anything like while he was sitting there. And I'm like, yeah, but these things happened like a year ago and he's been sitting in jail. Like, so maybe he's like come to grips. Like, there's lots of things for,
right. It's like, how can you think you'd know how your emotional expressions would look like? Like, he
yeah,
probably is like, he's not even here. Like, like, who knows what's going on in his mind?
right.
Like, judging a book by its cover when someone's in that position is so foolish. It's like, oh, they're not showing any emotion. It's like, they don't even have control of their emotions right now.
I mean,
Like, they're
maybe if
just
he's like
like a
laughing
mess.
maniacally, maybe if he, like they're like, yeah, I mean, he's like, ha ha ha, like yeah, you,
There's a few. There's a few that you're like,
you can have that one, but if he's
Jonah.
like not crying in the
Right.
midst
He
of it,
might be cried out.
yeah.
You know what I mean? He may
I
have no
mean,
tears left.
and sometimes they're like young guys and stuff too, so it's like, they're probably just looking at the rest of their life, being like what the hell, like I made this mistake.
Or dude, they just haven't they have no idea how to like understand the weight and the severity of it
Yeah,
all. Like they just can't they're just too dumb.
or they're just
Not
like
like in a bad way. They're too young.
mad at their dad or something. Like there's like so many complex things about. It's like, well,
Yeah.
this happened to me, so why can't it happen? Anyway, I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on in their heads because half the time, like the people that are being defended don't talk, so you don't get to hear them or hear their side of things or anything. So, um, and
I think
sometimes the lawyers are just the worst. Like the lawyers are just,
oh
I'm like,
man.
you jackass.
This girl, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, who is like, it's her trial. Like she's on trial against the state of New Mexico for the, death of that cinematographer.
Mm-hmm.
And her lawyer, man, it's like the woman representing the state has a giant sack and he has nothing. He is Varys from Game of Thrones. Like she just walks, she bulldozes all over him to the point where the judge was like, okay, from now on, objections, you just got to come to me and we'll talk over just the three of us. Because she was just manhandling him. And I
Yeah.
felt so bad for this girl. I'm like, your lawyer sucks. He
Oh,
sucks.
it is rough. I mean,
Couldn't get into a rhythm.
I think the one defense lawyer we had, like he was doing fine. Like he pointed out the right things. You can just tell it's like their job. Like this is just what they're doing all day. Like they're probably thinking about like 16 other things. Like they're probably like preparing for like another trial that's like the next day or something like that. Like in their
When
head.
you hear them with the witness and they're like, okay, so you said, okay, wait, on the night, it's like, dude, you don't even know anything. You're done. It's over. Sit down.
I
That's how
know.
this guy was today.
It's like you just want to kind of be like, all right, take a moment.
Weren't you in the locker room? Weren't you?
You not
Yes, I said I was.
unsurprised?
Right. That's right. And then they're like, yeah, okay, that's right. So I said.
It's fine.
I feel bad for those lawyers.
There's also like tons of like marching in and out.
Watch it, really.
Like if there's any sort of thing that um, isn't supposed to be said, like in the first trial, there was a cop on the stand, and there's like a whole thing with like when cops get on the stand, like you have to like understand that you can't just blankly believe them or blankly not believe them. Like I guess that's like kind of the rule for everybody, but they adamantly say it like just because it's a cop doesn't mean it's like a figure of authority in the courtroom, right? Like they're going to tell you what their account was for like when they arrived, and like and when they left, right? So you shouldn't believe them more because they're a cop or less because they're a cop, right? Like so it's they kind of address that directly as like a bias when you're in the jury. So
Right.
but
I guess because, like, a lot of people have family or people have a real bad experience.
sure, yeah, but like I can understand both sides of like hating a cop, or it depends what experiences you've had,
Humans.
but it's funny to see like the cops go against the like um, the attorneys, right? Because the attorneys like pick apart, like, because the cops always want to like say everything that happened, and the attorneys want to like keep them quiet.
Right. They
So
want to edit them.
they're like, all right, so like yes or no, like when you got there, was his gun out? The cop's like, yeah, his gun was out, like, and it goes on. But the cop in the first trial was, when he was answering one of the questions, he was like, well, yeah,
And
like,
they, like,
well, I
elaborate.
mean, like, I after I talked to his parole officer or something like that, and then the
Oh.
whole like court like blew up, and the judge was like, freeze everything, jury, get out. And then you all have to like stand up, and you have to like proceed out, and then they shut the door, and then they have their
And you have
discussion,
to
and then
hide in the room,
yeah, and then you have to go back in the room, and then you have to come back out, and then
and they stand
anytime
forever.
there's a break or discrepancy, you have to like get up and leave your notepad and go back in the
It's
room.
like it's
And you
so
can't
weird. It's like
talk.
timeout.
You can't talk about anything when you're in the, like, you can't talk about anything in the trial until the trial is all done. So if the trial goes on for like 4 days, you're like in the room with everybody, but you can't talk about anything that just happened. So like when you're in a
These
jury,
trials that go on for like weeks.
yeah, and that's why they give you a notepad. But like you can't, when you go in the room, like you're not like, oh my god, did you see that booger on the like last witness? Like you're not.
Are you just like,
You like talk about like norm. You can talk about like life and stuff.
oh,
You,
so
you
you
can
just
talk.
can't talk about the trial?
You can talk to each other. Like you're not just like, but you can't talk about the trial.
Is there like a cop in there making sure? Is Fogel
Yeah,
in there
he's
like shh, shh.
he's like first one to talk die. No, nobody cares.
Oh, there's no like
I mean, they don't.
chaperone.
You're not supposed to, right? So it's just that's just what the judge says, and judges kind of have a good amount of authority. So
Yeah.
we had like a pregnant woman on the jury, and she had a like a doctor's appointment, and she was like, yeah, no, it took me like it's like 3 months out for this doctor's appointment. I don't think I can get another one. And the judge was like, I made some phone calls, I moved it for you. And that was like it. Like, and she's like, oh,
Wow.
okay. So like I think judges have some pretty good pull when it comes to some of this stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, think about it.
But I've liked every
They're,
judge
they're
that's
the
been on there.
judge.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, have you had 3 different ones?
Yeah, 3 different ones. And I guess the last one was kind of like just a little bit past COVID, so it was like the first time that I thought I was going to have the ultimate, which would have been a Zoom call jury. Like it would have just been like me in my sweatpants, like just in all my glory. Like I would take a Zoom grand jury. That's like when you're like on a jury for like 6 months and you just see like trial after trial. Like and the whole time like you get paid for your job and your job can't fire you, but you get to be like a juror. I'm like, this is just my dream. Like I just want to get
it's
a job
the greatest.
and then get on a grand jury and just keep renewing me. Just keep me on there.
If it's just like, if I can make the last call, I think we'll steer in the right direction. But if I can just have the last call, like, okay, yeah, you're right. Proceed. Or no. Get back in there. I mean, a judge can't like override a jury, or like when you guys go in there, you cast your votes, and it has to be unanimous, and then you come out,
It doesn't.
And I mean,
you could be a hung jury, like you don't have to be.
Right. I mean, for guilty or not guilty, you come out and you read it, and has the judge ever been like, "What the you idiots! Like you got this wrong." Or was he ever like, "Good job, he was fucking so guilty"?
The first one, the judge came back and said, "Good job," because, like, technically with the evidence, like she already knew that it really did happen and everything like that. But I don't, for some reason there had to be a trial around it, so she was like, "Yeah, good job." But like there was plenty of evidence there. Like we didn't really, like, the whole point is that you're without a doubt, going to go through with it. The second one, we just weren't given like any information. It was so painful because it was so serious, and there were so many like serious accusations. Sorry, and like it seemed like it could have happened, but like it also seemed sort of like somebody making it up. And then you're like, and like when we deliberated, it, everybody was like, well, the victim said it happened, so it obviously happened. And I was like, well, that's not how things work at all. I'm like, you can feel like sympathy, but like you got to kind of, there needs to be like evidence, like sorry, right. But especially if you're going to send somebody away for like 20 years,
beyond a reasonable doubt, we have to prove, like, the burden is you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he did, and dude, during the trial, are you watching the defendant like 90% of the time, like his facial expressions and all that shit, or are you like all over?
I mean, not all over, but maybe like between the defendant and like some of the witnesses you have to kind of read too. Course, like especially like a victim. Like you really need to like focus on the victim. And, and then when like you hit some of those like sharp notes, like where somebody says penis or something like that, then you're like, like you really try to read the room at that moment, but you also can't really take too many other things into the judgment, right? Like you can't be like, oh, look, their family didn't show up for this, and this seems pretty important. Like you can't like do stuff like that. Like sometimes that comes up in the discussion afterwards. We also had like a guy who was, we were kind of split, like 6 and 6, and then eventually we got to like 11 and 1, and the one guy was like, well, if you guys all say that, then we could just get out of here, and I'll just say it too. And I was like, you need to understand something. Like when we get out there, the main juror, I can't remember what it's called, is gonna say like we find the defendant like guilty or not guilty or whatever, right? But then they're going to ask us all to stand up and say how we voted. And so if you're not like 100%, then we're going to stay here until you're 100% or you fully understand your decision. If you don't believe it, then stay not guilty. Stay not guilty for a week. I don't care. We'll sit here and talk about it. And if we really can't come to an agreement, then we'll be a hung jury. And yeah, this will happen all over again for another 12 people. But you can't, like, nobody's asking you to just jump in with the rest of the group. In fact, I've enjoyed some of your, counter arguments or things to consider, and even though people around here are like now on the not guilty side, we still are struggling with it. So give us a reason to switch again, that's perfectly fine.
I know. It's like if it's like you should all, before you go to a trial, see 12 Angry Men, like as a United States law,
Except
because
for
it
12
really
Angry Men had like
explains like you
tons
must
of
consider.
evidence in it. like
Yeah,
like
true.
when you look at all the evidence in 12 Angry Men, they're like, oh well, here, and they're like playing with the knife and stuff. I'm like, that would be cool.
I know I would be like a terrible, like if I was ever on trial and I was a defendant, I would be so bad, because one thing that impresses me so much is how people keep like a stone, like the lawyers must tell them like, don't make any facial expression, like stone face, don't, reveal
Sure.
any information. And because I know I would be like, I would just be making faces, raising an eyebrow, like it would be it would be tough. That's why I don't plan on breaking the law.
But being on a jury
Anytime
is still pretty cool though. But I would say that I would say this. I would say like
I would love to be.
there should be some sort of like jury post jury help, because the
I
problem is
bet.
like you finish and they're just like thanks, and like you go outside and you're like, and sometimes you're walking past like the family, like the
And you're
family's
like,
there like in the lobby or in security, and you're like,
there's no like after show.
there needs to be like some sort of therapy like
Yeah,
afterwards
right.
too,
Of
because
course.
like you're like really like you walk back out in the world and you're kind of like it's very surreal.
I just decided someone's fate, and now I have to go pee in the public restroom because it's home is too far. Like you're right back to life, and you
Yeah,
just kind of like decided someone's future.
yeah, and that's
That's a
that's
lot.
yeah, and you don't really want to like, I don't know, and you might even see like one of the other jurors and you're like bye, like, and you're just dissolving into the mist, like you're going back into the corn, like it's such a weird phenomenon. It's like these 12 random people, because like you
Bye.
started off as like 300 people, right, and then they picked like
Oh
50
right, they
people,
narrow you
and then from
down.
the 50 people they picked the 13, like 12 and an alternate, and then
Oh
you
yeah, and an
deliberate,
alternate.
right, and it's crazy.
Dude, no. It's like when you're driving home from the hospital with your baby. You're like, oh yeah, now it's just like this. You're like sudden, extreme change, and I
You're like,
just
wait, the
gotta
nurse isn't
go.
gonna get in with us?
Right? Like my like clones of my parents don't show up and like do most of the work.
I remember seeing like the
Fuck.
parking attendant guy, and I'm like, "Are you gonna check the car seat?" They're like, "No,
Right. It's not my fucking kid.
this thing belongs
Oh
to
yeah,
you
this is
now." Yeah,
only mine.
yeah.
Only mine.
So
Oh.
that is true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it does feel like
like
that.
it's such a change. You're like, oh man, it was so important, and now it's just like back to the rat race.
Yeah,
Not the rat race, but just back to normal life. Oh
it
man,
just
yeah,
feels fake. Like it like you come back into life, and you're
yeah. Did that
like all
again?
these people that are driving by on the street right now. I'm like, yeah, you guys don't know. You don't know what just like happened in that room.
I would almost be like, was that a movie, or did I just really, were they all real people?
I
Like it
did
would be tough for me. Like, oh, that wasn't a play.
like the first one, like 2 months after, I was walking down Walnut Street and I recognized one of the other jurors again randomly, and
Walnut
they
Street.
like came over to me and just gave me like a big hug, and we just like
Oh no
hugged for a
way.
while like on the street and stuff, and that was really
How long
nice.
was that one? How long did you deliberate? Not how long was the trial?
I think that was like 5 days.
Whoa.
Yeah, or maybe it was like, yeah, no, well, it was like 4 days of deliberation and like 3 days. It was a full week, I remember. So I think it was a 3.5 day trial, and then 3.5 days of deliberation.
Right, like our high school had this retreat, and it wasn't like a heavy religious retreat, but I mean, we went to a Catholic school. Oh, did I just lose my everything?
No, you're there, but your video just kind of paused.
Yeah, my camera just
There was a crunch noise.
I know. Galactus fell. Da, 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 da.
Oh no. There you go. What happened to the other camera? It just
it got it dude. I have like a jack, you know, like a I don't even know the word.
tripod?
Like a jack, like it's like an adapter. Like you can plug more than two
a
USBs
USB
into
hub.
it, and then
Hub.
And it's not amazing because I got it as like a Secret Santa gift. You know, like it was one of the options on Amazon, like price wise, and I was like, "Ooh, cool! I'll just take that, so I don't have to go buy one." And it's a little Sensitivo, so when a Funko falls on it, it can like destroy it. Yeah,
Sorry, bud.
it's annoying. It's annoying because if I like move the microphone a centimeter, it'll go. And then getting it back sometimes can be like, it can take forever. Luckily, there's another camera. I actually like this angle better because I'm looking at you and the camera at the same time. I don't like looking away and down.
That wasn't too much.
It's very disrespectful. It's almost like I'm like, hey, I'm doing a podcast and I'm going to do it like this the whole time.
That's true. I do normally have people like over here, but I try to get them like closer because I do look to the left when I'm talking to you, but I sometimes try to look straight at the camera. This thing's a nice like gizmo too. Like it's like a little like grip thing.
Oh yeah, I have one of those.
Little vice, and then it has
like I like that. I have like they're like this.
The camera holes on it.
Oh.
So then you can put the mount in for like any of the cameras, and then grip it.
My cameras. My camera was like
any poles.
$60.
No, I know, but I mean, like even the webcams sometimes have the camera thingamajigs.
Yeah, I have it right now on like the light tripod. Like it has like a little female piece that you can screw, and it matches that one. But it's up there, and
that's too high.
It's too much weight. High, and I just would rather look where you are.
Gotcha.
Because it's hard staring just at a camera, even though I'm doing it now, and for some reason it's not a problem. But it's not the one that's working. But you know what I mean? It's like staring at the wall.
Yeah, I get you. I'm with you.
Even the John Magner show, for a while there, I just did it in a pitch black room on a couch.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we never really did video, right? We mostly did audio only for that.
Yeah.
Like the video was there, but we didn't really care about it too much.
Yeah, because we usually didn't do video because it would slug things down a bit.
And we were just on Skype. Like there wasn't a lot of options to merge everybody.
Right.
And video would just
so ahead of our time.
Space. Yeah. It was good. I was still proud of the one that we did live from Kate's apartment. Where I had all the wires and I had like all the boom mics like hanging over everybody's head and stuff like that. And it all plugged into like that little tiny, like nothing little contraption.
And we did a show, right?
Yeah.
I like don't remember listening to that one.
It was like in her kitchen or something.
Yeah, like at our kitchen table, and we were like having beer. Maybe because we were drinking, I kind of don't remember.
I think we did it.
But I remember everything before.
Yeah. Well, and then we had one that was like in your apartment. That one was like another in. It was so funny
Oh
because I had to like
yeah,
rethink how to do it. I'm like, well, it'll be easier because we're together, and I'm like, no,
right.
like my technical side was like, no, it won't be because we don't do them this way.
I was looking at one of those boxes that like allow you, like it's like a standard like podcasting box that like allows you to do that and other things, you know.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
like the Roadcaster and stuff like that.
yeah. Because
Some of
it's like
those are
the good ones are so expensive, and
they're
the
so
bad ones, I'm sure they suck.
those ones are really expensive. Like I still have this one that's like the Tascam. It's like the old version of it, but on US. Like if the only problem with that is if I plug it in for USB power, it has like a weird buzzing sound. But if I
Oh
use batteries, if I use like AA batteries in it, it sounds crystal clear. And
oh
that
no,
thing's like
it's the
probably
wire.
like $30 now or something. I mean, like new it was like 150 or something, but I was using it for the it
What's
had
it
a
called?
it had like a mount. Oh, let me get it.
Oh,
See, it's like Tascam, and it has like two
Tascam.
mic inputs, and then it has
Oh,
this 3-4 one here. So you could actually put
ooh.
4 mics all together,
Ooh.
like, and then it has like all like the outputs on this side.
TAS, not TAZ.
The Tascam.
Not like the devil. The
Tascam.
Manian
The
devil.
DR60D.
Oh, jeez. DR60D?
Yeah. But I've had this for a long time. It's like built like it's solid. I think the ones that are out there now have red. Like these are red.
Oh, yeah.
But for if you
This
use
is just
batteries
audio.
with it, and then it doesn't have that feedback. But it's crystal clear.
I like their handheld digital audio recorder. It looks like a like Catwoman's shocker thing. The two mics come.
Oh yeah. Well, those are good too. Then you don't even like need to hook up a mic. You can just record right into that.
Yeah.
I think there's another one called Zoom, like ZOOM. That's also like a good recorder like that. They're pretty cheap.
Zoom, isn't that the?
It looks the same. Like it looks like the
Skype
taser
ripoff?
thing. Yeah. But it has like the microphone plugins in the bottom, and I think it comes in like 2 and 4. But I was thinking about doing the other podcast. I'm too scared to do it, but I think sometime I'll try it. Is to do it like in the park, like just set up 2 microphones like in the park, but just kind of start the podcast by myself and see if someone will sit down and join me.
Oh my god, that's so awesome, but also so scary.
Sounds so terrifying, right?
Yeah, that's almost as scary as stand-up comedy. Even though like there's no one, it's like the same thing. It's like the same like just me.
Well, and also I think everyone's just like so on edge that I feel like I would just get somebody who wants to debate me, and I'm like, I don't want to debate. I just want to talk. Like, I don't have an opinion. I haven't studied anything.
It's such a great. It's such like a great sociological experiment to prove just like randomness. Like Forrest Gump. Like we're a little bit of both. The feather blown in the wind and destiny. It's like, will someone nice come up to me first, or will a dick come up to me
Yeah,
first?
I guess either way
You don't know.
it'll
Flip a
probably
coin.
be like good podcast material.
So that's your idea.
Unless like a dud sits down and is like, what should I say?
Well, you can dig anything out of anybody. Where are you from? Do you have any brothers and sisters? Do you play any sports? Do you have any hobbies? What's your favorite color? Are you gay?
Yeah. See that comes really
You
easy
bum.
for you, I'm sure. But I don't think of questions like that when I talk to people.
You just
Like,
have like those
I've-
standard ones
there's
that
no
I just
way.
spit out, Agnew. There's like no way I would get to all of them because like a few of the answers will lead you to way more interesting questions.
Yeah, I don't even know how
You know,
I met
where
my
you're from.
wife, honestly.
I'm from Pittsburgh.
Like,
You met your wife house hunting.
I know, but it was only because I
But that's
wasn't
not
paying
really.
attention. Like if I had been paying attention, it would have been it would have been terrible. It would have been such a train wreck if I was actually like
Oh, right. Because
focused on her,
you would have overthought it. I
thinking it was
know.
like a date.
That was my key with Heather. Like, I I thought there was zero chance. So I was just me. I wasn't putting on a show.
Yeah.
And that's who that's who so she came after.
Oh,
So I was like, oh, whoa. This is scary.
it's so funny. But yeah, I don't know.
That's your idea. Yeah. I mean, I have like ideas like that where I'm like, I want to get people from growing up, like Terry Fitzgibbons and Bill Ganner, but even more deep cut people, like weird, obscure people, and be like, what did you think of me when we knew each other as kids?
Oh, geez. That's a dangerous door to open. I would not open that door.
I know. I'm like, I'm such a sensitive bitch. Like, it's like a cool idea, but I'm like, I don't know. It would be like a miracle if I ever like completed it.
Well, like I was actually kind of surprised because sometimes like I'll run into somebody, when I go outside once a year, and I'll run into like somebody we know from like forever ago, and they'll be like, "Oh, like I hated everybody there. I hated that school. Like I hated." I'm like, "Whoa!" Like the other thing is I can't balance is like how old are you? like I understand. Like I got bullied. I was a bully. Like I've done the whole spectrum. Did it?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But
whole experience,
feeling awkward, feeling confident, like whatever, like
right.
the whole
ugly,
thing.
kind of not.
And I'm like, but I, eventually you just kind of come to grips with it. I don't still like hate people from that like messed with me when I was a kid. It's like, all right,
no ill will.
And I always wondered, like, if there was anybody I was mean to, if I was to like apologize to them, would I be apologizing for myself? Like what would an apology as a 41-year-old mean to somebody from high school? Like, oh yeah, sorry, I was a jerk. But like what would that really do? Like for one thing, my brain was just stupid. Right. So like it's not like I was probably consciously doing something at the time, but there were probably so many other mixed up nonsensical thoughts going on. Like I'm mad about something else, or like somebody kicked me, so I'm gonna kick you. Like there's so many dumb thoughts. But then I'm like, well, if I was to call somebody up and like kind of do like the Billy Madison, like, hey, really sorry about that time. I was oh, don't worry about it, and then just
put the lipstick on, cross the name off the list.
But it's like,
yeah, but what if you don't get that? What if you get like
no? But I mean, what would it even matter? Because anyway. Am I doing it for myself? Am I doing it to make myself feel better? So that was where I landed on that. I would be like I'd probably just be saying it, thinking I'm being like, oh man, I'm being so considerate and apologizing, and it's like, but I'm really just feeding myself.
It's like maybe point. They're over it and they're not like
they're like, why did you bring this up?
Yeah, you're like, Jesus, dude, I like just spent 20 years in therapy getting over that, and you just brought it back up. I remember at our 5-year high school reunion, I was like overly apologizing to someone who was overly telling me that it was okay. And I was like, I'm apologizing for a fucking teenager. Like, I'm not like, that's just not, it's not even like the same cellular makeup. It's not who I am now. And it's like, yeah, they don't want to hear it. And yeah, you would just be doing it to relieve yourself of the guilt of when you were a dick.
I mean, it probably
Person
makes more
wants you to
sense
just live with it.
at your 5 year, because at your 5 year
Close.
you're still
Right.
mixed, you're still completely like
Yeah, like I
like it
was
just feels like a dream.
mid-20s. Yeah, it does. It feels like a movie I watched and I don't remember all of it. Uh, so now it's like I'm in my 40s. I'm like, sorry, I'm not apologizing for 20 years ago. I mean, if you want me to, I will, for sure.
But like I said, I'd be more confused why you're still upset.
Right. I'd be like, yeah, right. Like, dude, I I see people in our, the same people that you just spoke of, where I'm like, it appeared to me that you were sort of enjoying yourself, and now it's just like pure anger. I'm like, I don't know what was going on. I don't know what happened since then.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I mean, look, I think high school was fun. I don't think I loved all of it. I mean, I obviously didn't love all of it. There's definitely things I would have done differently, but I don't know how I would have done them differently. You know what I mean? It was kind of just like, hey, I made it through. like what
I
more can you
know.
ask than getting through it?
That's why it was always like, well, I'm not taking like, I'm not getting a tutor, and I'm like, if I just get through, I think that's fine. I think that'll be enough.
I think the only thing I would
Because
have
I see kids. It was like when I saw kids doing worse than me, I was like, oh, I'm fine. Because at St. Jude,
You
it was like
mean like
I
academically?
was, yeah, like academically, because at St. Jude, I was like bottom of the totem pole, or top of the totem pole technically. So I was like, Jesus. And then I got to high school and I'm like, oh, there's kids way worse than me. That was an eye opener. I was like, okay, I can just slide through on the C list here.
I mean, to be fair too,
Go
like
unnoticed.
I feel like in grade school though, it was more like the teachers telling you. Like there were like so many tracks and so much stuff, and then it would just be like you're the class clown, like you're acting out, like
Yeah.
like I always felt like they treated you kind of like a pet, like just this like
If you kick a dog enough, it'll think it did something wrong.
right, exactly. Like it seems like that,
Dog.
like where it's like, all right, like you want me to be that, I'll be that. Like you want me to be the class clown, I guess I'm like put the nose on me. I'll be whatever you want me to be. And yeah, and like, but like it's not like anybody else doesn't see it either, right? Like I
Right.
remember seeing it and being like, that's kind of messed up, you know, like, and not just like you, but like other kids in the class too. And it's like, well, that kid obviously has like a lot of energy. Like that kid
Right.
needs to
I
like
know.
run or something. Like he
Not
needs
sit.
he needs to get out, right?
You need to
And
build something or learn how to build something.
and this other kid like is getting bullied, like, so they're gonna act out, like I don't know, to me it just seemed like it was the 80s, and maybe that's an excuse, I don't know, but it just seemed like people just didn't pay attention that much, and the teachers
Yeah.
just always seemed angry. Like it never seemed like there was like post like second grade, I don't remember there being like happy teachers around us.
Dude.
You know what I mean? Like maybe third grade, I'll give Miss Fisher a pass, but like
We
post third grade.
had, and no, it was Mrs. Fisher, but there was
Sorry.
Miss Bomber, Miss Carriger, all these like single,
I never even put it together.
mid-30s. I know, like I
didn't see
just
them as
kinda sorta
women.
did.
I just saw them as like
Yeah,
creatures.
right, like something else, right? But it's like, and then, and in fifth and sixth grade is when we were all like beginning to be eye to eye, like height with them, and in sixth grade looking down. So they were just like so like, like don't you try to like, overpower me. Like they were just doing everything they could to like emasculate us. As
It's an
weird as that is.
interesting point, yeah, because after we kind of shot up, it's kind
It
of
was
like,
such like
wait, why am I
immature
afraid of you?
response.
You know, like
Right. No.
why are your
And it was
your
also when we
rules?
were like learning to like, I mean, not learning, but like getting really good at like lying. And I mean, Chad Munn and I just kind of like were like, we've known each other so long. Like, I know where to go when he starts lying. You're just not going to get us to admit anything. Yeah, they were so mean. And then Mrs. Paul Hamas, she was great. Dottie Fogel, she was a Mrs. But gosh, I don't know. Was she? Yeah.
I feel like she was like on like the edge. I feel like she was like stern, but like kind of like in a like a coach sort of way. And it could be okay, but sometimes she like misread the room. Like I feel like there was a lot of times where she like corrected and she didn't even know what was going on.
Do you know who Fogel was? She was Lindsay Lohan in Mean Girls. She just like couldn't get in with the cool girls in our class, like Bonnie and Kate and Amy and Juliana. They just didn't like her, and she like was always like trying to be cool in front of them. And when it didn't work, she would like punish us all.
I never picked up on that.
I just picked up on it.
I was oblivious to that.
It was like, I mean, I just remember her trying to be funny to Bonnie one time, and Bonnie like right back to her face, like mocking her. And they all were like, ha ha, but they were laughing on like two different like planets. And I was like, oh, like, yes, Fogel like wants to be cool with Bonnie and Kate and Amy. And sorry.
I always feel like she was more like connected with like Mary Kate.
Towards yeah,
You know, like because she
Mary
was
Kate
like all
the
like
scholar.
artsy and stuff, and she was like,
Yes. Yes, Mary Kate was like the angel on her shoulder, and Bonnie was like the devil. She like wanted
yeah.
to like be cool. But Mary Kate was
But she
like
could fall back to like her and like Megan
and Megan Dominic again, and
yeah,
Carly Volpenhagen
yeah,
and Renee Mergener. She
yeah.
would just fall back into
Their
their good
whole they were
graces.
like that was like the safe. Like they had her back. They were like her assistants.
They were safe bets. They were who she
They
should
were like
marry.
teachers' aides. They were like that's what they were. Like they were like ready to go to college and just become teacher aides.
I know they were authority figures at every stage of their.
She was
Dumb
definitely
life.
meaner
No,
to the
just joking.
boys though. She was definitely meaner to the boys. Like I remember her like restricting us on things, and it was like we wanted to like listen to Rolling Stones or something. She's like, no, you can't listen to that. It's too
Beatles.
dirty. Yeah, but we could listen to Mary Kate's version of the Beatles anytime. Like
Right.
it's like, oh, only certain Beatles, and no, you can't listen
I
to like
know.
Hendrix or something. I'm like, if little kids today were like interested in Hendrix or something like who would punish them and be like, yeah, go listen to it. Yeah, like
It
you want to
was,
listen
I
to the
believe,
Wall, go listen to the Wall. You know, like it's pretty interesting.
here's the pointless shit that I remember. I think it was a Beatles song, but it was I know the song. It goes like this: touch me,
No, it's not the Beatles.
feel
No, it's
me,
not the Beatles. It's the Who.
touch me. Oh yeah, I was like, maybe it's
the
not the
Who.
Beatles.
It's the Who. It's the Who's Tommy. Yeah,
That was the song.
rock opera.
And they were like, this is inappropriate. I'm like, it's not fingering, you perverts.
No,
gross. Like, get your mind
it's
out
like
of the gutter.
well, it was because they said a deaf, dumb, and blind kid, and
Because they don't exist.
yeah, right. Nobody's those things. So, but we were like, the whole thing is like cheering on that person. So like again, it was like the beginning of like she was ahead of her time. It's like, oh man, if it was just 2022, you'd be like set. Like
Her and Oprah, she'd be
yeah,
like her sidekick.
yeah. Oh no, you can't say things are great or bad if you're mentioning it. Like you can't do either.
Her favorite thing was to make a guy look dumb. Even like the smart guy, like even Terry, she like relished in making him like look like he made a mistake.
Yeah.
And Yeah, she would like, I just would like not say a word.
I'm still cursed by the word facetious. Like when she used that on me, like I hate it. I still
I
to this
wince,
day
I
hate
wince
hearing
a
that
little.
word. Yeah.
Even when I use it because it is such a fun word to say if like no one's
I mean,
expecting
I've
it and you
gotten
use it the
past
right
it
way.
because I'm not like
But I still go,
really
"Ugh."
holding on to those things, but it's still there's still like a forever there's kind of like a burn of that word. I'll still use it, and even when I use it, I'm like that's just me taking like a step towards the fear.
It's like when I hear another girl say to another dude, I hope he knows that.
I hope he knows that.
Like we're friends. We're just
Oh,
friends. I hope he knows
oh.
that. I'm like, you bitch. What do you mean? He should know that. Make it clear.
Oh man, so
You
much
want to pack it
heartbreak
in,
too.
homie?
Yeah, yeah,
So much heartbreak.
yeah.
Where?
Like in the high school days and stuff like that. Like there was so much
Oh,
like
for you and
emotion
I?
flying around. Yeah.
Oh, I know. That's why, like, when we finally like were both like married, I was like, holy shit, man. There was a time where I think both of you and I, in the same room at the same minute, in our heads, were like, I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. We're gonna be alone forever. And then it's like, I'm engaged, you got married. I'm like, oh my god, we fucking did it. We did it. 30 years later.
Maybe that's the key. Maybe that's like the thing. That's like the way to get out of the matrix. Like you just have to like give in and be like not really like in a negative way, but just kind of stop and be like, all right,
Yeah,
this can't be the only thing I'm pursuing. This can't be like
right,
my thought 24/7. Like, where's my
right.
next date? Like, who am I going to find? Like, how is my story going to
Who
play
am I
out?
gonna
Like,
buy?
yeah. Who's going to, you know, and then you just kind of focus basically on yourself. And then
Right.
that's it. And then it's like,
Yeah.
you
And
become
then the
like a
door
magnet.
just wide open.
Yeah.
And you're
And
like,
then,
out of my league much? Sure.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
I
let's
like
talk about our heartbreaks on the next episode.
the heartbreaks.
That'd be a good one.
It's always a dangerous one. I was always thinking that maybe we could do, we could like read one of like the things where somebody needs advice, like on Reddit or something like that, and then
Oh, I'd love to do that.
chime in.
Do some advices.
We'll do some advices. Yeah,
Do some John Agnew therapy hour.
yeah.
I
Do
love
we
it.
have time, or do you have to go?
No. I thought I thought we were just wrapping up organically of its own volition.
I want to try one.
I said volition. Same thing.
I'm gonna do a bonus. We're gonna do a bonus. What would I type in here? Like
An overtime.
yeah, this is
Even though
after
there's no
hours.
time.
This is the
This is
dishwasher's
extraneous.
running. This is the Cascade.
Self clean.
This is sponsored by Finish. Um,
Finish self clean.
with that little red ball that does nothing. It's a total ploy.
It's like the bent TV.
What do you think? Should we do relationship advice or should we do like dad advice?
Let's do dad.
Dad advice? Like parenting?
Yeah.
Oh, this could get gross.
No, dad. Oh,
Let's
good.
see. Well, good. Parenting ADHD? No.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Yeah?
an expert.
I don't know.
I mean,
It's
I'm
just
an
what
expert.
popped up.
I'm an expert because I am one. Even though I don't think Hannah or Charlie are heavy, Hannah has like a little bit. Charlie has like nothing.
We were going over tonight that both my kids have slight webbing, like
Oh,
how
no
I have
way.
my web toes,
That's awesome.
and Leo kind of has a bit more webbing between his fingers, and Ruby has webbing between her toes, which is kind of fun.
It's evolution
Okay,
right before our eyes.
da-na-na-na-na-na.
No.
They're like,
It's a
what's your mutant power? It's like
mutation.
my two toes are
I'm a
really
little
close,
faster if I work on just being a swimmer. Also,
and I can't. The one
I
can't get
could
hit by
possibly
anything hard,
could it
or
possibly
I'm
get
taken out.
disqualified. I could possibly get disqualified from the Olympics if I make the Olympics.
Yeah, if I wanted to,
Yeah,
I don't want to.
for all that, just to
These
get.
these are dumb. I'll just do. I'm just gonna do parenting because it's like medical stuff. They're like, all right, like the doctor said this in the appointment.
Doesn't matter.
Ba.
It's like the school has to, like Montessori school. It's like they need to be just called ADD kids.
I just found out I'm
Hi.
pregnant and I'm moving to a different country tomorrow.
Oh, what? What country?
I found out I'm pregnant a few hours ago. I'm 21. I'm moving back to my home country to help my mum, I guess Britain, look after my sibling. The issue is, I don't know how I feel about this. A termination is illegal in my home country. The father has made it very clear he either wants me to terminate or he wants nothing to do with the child. Not that I
Douche.
wanted him there. I feel so overwhelmed, and it's literally the only thing I have thought about since finding out. Well, yeah. Any advice on similar situations or just outsiders' opinions on what I can do in my situation would be helpful. But this is mostly a vent. It's like I said, I have no clue what I want to do.
Well, that's a bummer that you have no clue what you want to do, but the fact that you're moving back with family is probably best case scenario, especially since you're going there to help watch your niece, I think you said, or maybe little sister with your mom. So it's like you're in the best place to raise a baby and to
Sibling.
be and to yeah, sibling and to be pregnant. You have like the best things surrounding you, and if he doesn't want to be a part of it, I mean, it's a shame, but and he'll probably regret it. But that's if you want to keep it. If you don't, you can, I don't know, I guess go to like one of the states in America where it's legal and do it. I don't know. That's a legal thing. But I think, worst case scenario, this kid has like, the most important women in its life rallied around it, ready to raise it if you choose.
I think you summed it up really well. I mean I would probably yeah, I mean like 21 is really young, like you're like a baby basically.
I know.
That makes it like sad, but there's lots of I would say there's lots of different stories out there, and it doesn't mean like the people that would say like, oh, your life's going to be over or it's going to be so hard you won't be able to handle it. I mean, I like I think my parents had me at 23.
I was going to say the cool thing is like she'll be 10 and you'll only be 30.
Yeah.
Like you'll still be so young and your kid will be able to like do a lot of cool things with you pretty soon. That's amazing. I'm 43 and my daughter's 6. So it's like that's such a way, like I'll be, 65. I'm not going to do the math, but it's not as cool because we're not as close in age.
Yeah.
So there's another.
Yeah, you definitely have to do those calculations where you're like, all right, like I should still be able to walk.
Yeah. Right. I hope I can hold my own on the basketball court at 65. Fuck.
I'm waiting for like whatever like stem cell injection. I'm thinking that's like maybe 10 years out, where we're just like, and like all of a sudden our hair just grows like down to here. And I'm like,
dude, I know this guy who wrecked his back kind of like me. And it was like 5-6 years, like just nothing helped. and then he did those stem cells, and he's been like no pain for like a year now.
Yeah.
Pretty
Doctor
awesome.
Strange style.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he stealing the chi from everyone around him?
Yes, sucking it in.
That plot didn't really go anywhere, did it? That guy at the end of the movie, they kind of just dropped that, didn't they? Sorry, not to go on a tangent here.
No, that was like one of my most like that was like a weird thing to cut out because like he was in the movie but not that story.
Yeah,
it was like alternate universe. Too many sorcerers.
But it seemed like interesting. It seemed like it could have been more of like an interesting arc, and it was kind of like a mirror of Strange.
Too interesting.
It was too interesting. It would have been nobody would have got it.
Too interesting.
It would have been too hard for everyone to understand,
or too hard for like a group to like go from start to finish.
I think
too messy.
Oh.
Ollie's Bargain Outlet.
No, I read that wrong.
When was that? You didn't see when that thing was posted? The 21-year-old pregnant girl going back to England?
2 hours ago.
Oh. Well, maybe you can like respond to it with this YouTube thing and tell her the time. Tell her like 1:20 and be like, here's some positive reinforcement for you if you're freaking out. You never know. We are like, dads.
We are dads.
We are dads of girls, so we are fucking strong and smart. This mockingbird.
You have a mockingbird?
Wakes me up every morning, and I hear him right now. He's beautiful. I mean, he sings wonderfully. All the different tunes.
Okay, I'm gonna read one more real quick.
All right.
My stubborn 6-year-old is sneaking around the house when we're sleeping.
Stubborn.
My 6 male, so boy, is sneaking. Why can't you just write boy? It is sneaking stuff around the house while we're sleeping. Is sneaking stuff around the house when we're sleeping. And I'm just about at my tipping point. For context, the kid is not allowed any electronics during the week, but that hasn't stopped him from sneaking them before everyone else is awake. Last week, he snuck an Xbox remote that belonged to my 14. What's 14M? Is this
14 male?
No, but it says 14M son. And spent.
She said stealing stuff.
Is that 14-month-old?
So,
is that a 14
this person wrote stealing stuff. My kid is stealing stuff. It's like, or sneaking stuff. It's like,
and who owns an Xbox? Like, it's my son's Xbox remote. What does that even mean? Is that a controller? Like, is that like the old DVD the Xbox remote? Like, let him have it. What are you using it for?
Right.
Okay. Hold on. I have to read this again. Okay. Last week, he snuck an Xbox remote that belonged to my 14M son and spent $100 that my 14-year-old didn't have in his account, causing his account to go negative. That doesn't seem like you could probably do that on an Xbox. Of course, we had to pay that back to the older kid. Then, every day since, he's been trying to sneak anything and everything from my phone, my iPad, my husband's phone, and this morning, a random keyboard that my 14-year-old uses for his school computer. This can't possibly be normal behavior of the 6-year-old, as we didn't have any of these issues when the 14-year-old was younger. I'm not sure what to do here and feel that I failed somewhere along the line, whether it was the YouTube or something else. How do I get him to stop sneaking off now before he keeps doing it before he keeps doing it up to his teen years and beyond? Any help is so appreciated. I'm coming to Reddit because if we go to my mill, I don't know. Oh, is that like significant? I don't know. MIL. I don't know what that stands
for. Mother-in-law?
Mother-in-law. Okay, thanks. She will just tell us that he needs a good ass beating, and I just simply don't believe that is a solution. I don't think he needs an ass beating. Um, that sounds like a 6-year-old to me. I don't know. That doesn't sound like he's collecting screens. Yeah, put them in a drawer. Like, what? Put them on a shelf. Like, problem solved. I don't understand. You realize like a 6-year-old is only so high. Like, you can put things out of their reach. Just place things higher in the house and go to bed. Your title was also very misleading, saying that is sneaking around the house while we're sleeping. I thought he was actually outside. The way I read that, I thought he was running around, sneaking
See,
out, going to 7-Eleven.
When she said sneaking stuff around the house at night when we're asleep, I was like, that is so vague. Like, he could be sneaking food, he could be sneaking you know, pornography. Like, he could be doing sneaking stuff. I was like,
6-year-old?
so vague. I was like, you have no control right now. He doesn't need an ass beating. In the way back of your mind, I want you to be kind of happy because your kid is like kind of clever, like people that are like he's like putting him. He's like he knows we're important. That like it's a level of intelligence that can kind of be honed in a positive way.
Yeah,
but you do need to bring the hammer down pretty hard and get him to knock it off, because if you don't, he's just gonna keep buying stuff on the Xbox.
okay, well, let's
Doesn't
look at the
understand money.
positives
He's
here.
6.
He's able to operate an Xbox remote in order to
For
purchase
sure.
things. That's the now I'd want to know, did he purchase things that he
Frankly,
wanted, or did he just purchase random things, right? Like, was he mashing buttons and accidentally purchase something?
Hannah knows how to buy things on her iPad. She needs to know a password that she doesn't know. So this kid probably maybe figured out the password, because if Hannah knew the password, she'd know how to put it in.
There's also probably a password for Xbox too, so that problem
Right.
is also solved. So it just sounds like you haven't really
Yeah.
protected some of your
Kid-proofed.
electronics. Yeah, you haven't kid proofed it. Like, here's the other thing. Here's a good tip for life. Call the company when things like that happen. Get your money back. Like,
Yeah.
you call them and say, my 2-year-old bought this.
Yeah.
They go, oh, sure, and they give it back.
Happens a zillion times a day.
Yeah.
Also, here's another thing you should never do from this day forward. Never compare this kid to the first one. In most cases, they're probably going to be different.
Yeah.
And 6-year-old behavior is like out of control. It's such a weird age. I was reading about it this week because my kids' eating habits suck. And I was like, what is going on? And it's this crazy stage of their cells that go through this, just all these changes at age 6 before 7. So, and I'm telling you, that sounds like neat, kind of mischievous, like you can hone that clever, curious mind.
Yeah, it sounds like you could just occupy it with something else. I think the screens should just go. Like, just get rid of the screens.
I know. There's such a, I think, yeah, they're too addicting. They're just too addicting.
Especially to a 6-year-old, right? Like, the 14-year-old, like, maybe they can rationalize it, but like a 6-year-old, like, I don't know, they're just gonna want the pretty colors, right? So,
but if you didn't see it coming, 20 years before it happened, you would be like, every age is addicted to these things, unless they like I feel like you and I kind of benefited from your awareness to like understand that this thing is built to not let you put it down.
Yeah. This is built to not let like even us put it down.
Right. Yeah,
like,
I know. Like, it
kids
tricks
have just
us.
no chance, right? Like, it's like
voodoo.
It's so funny because I've been trying to like kind of see the algorithms like as they come.
Mm.
And so like I got a like I had a Twitter account and then I got like another Twitter account and then I was trying to like play them
Oh yeah.
against each other, like where I would like click on only like left or right type things and it just
Right.
both went off into like
Oh,
the
dude.
absolute like extremes and it's so funny because like they're saying almost exactly the same message but it's just flipped, right? Like it's just one part of like it's just anger hate like anger hate like anger hate anger hate but then there's just like a little bit of like anger hate towards Trump, anger hate towards Biden. Like it's like so funny
Yeah.
like that it's so ridiculous and then both are like penis enlargers, you know, like
Yeah.
it's the
I
one thing they can
know.
both
Yeah, it's
agree
like
on.
you must be old because you care about this crap. It's so dumb. Yes, and you must be impotent and overweight. Viagra. Here you go.
But this kid, like the other thing was she said that she's like they're not allowed electronics during the week, but then at the very end she said, I don't know if I failed sometime whether it was the YouTube. So like you're saying that they want your phone, they want your iPad, your husband. I mean, like they want phones and iPads. The fact that they're grabbing a random keyboard, that just seems like a fun like if they're just if the 6-year-old's grabbing a keyboard and like running around the keyboard, it sounds like maybe the 6-year-old wants attention from the 14-year-old, so they're taking and messing with things from the 14-year-old, right? And like you said,
Just wants attention.
no two kids are going to be alike. Like even these two are less than like they're like a year and a half apart. So you'd think, you know, like at least I was basically the same person raising both of them, but also like they're completely different. Like they get
Oh my
along,
gosh.
but they're so different. And nothing we
Couldn't be
did
more
with
different.
Ruby worked with Leo. Like none of it.
Nope. It was the opposite. And even like, yeah, their appetites, their favorite colors, like it's just different from every single part of it, other than like, their eye color and their last name.
I think the only thing that they actually do agree on is like movies and video. Like if they get a screen, then they both agree on it. They're like, this is fantastic. This is
Oh,
the
that's
best thing
good.
I've ever seen.
Yeah, they do like a lot of the same things. Um,
But like the
I
way
was
the
gonna say
ladies
something.
comparing them, it doesn't make sense to me. Like it's like we didn't go
Right.
through any of this
I know, and I'm like,
8 years
I'm like,
ago.
first of all, it's a second kid, so they think they're invincible, uh, and I'm telling you, I think a kid who's sneaking stuff, I think they have a better awareness already. Like they're already a little more aware. They're like, I just gotta get this thing.
Yeah, like you just need
Like
to
they're driven. They're just gonna get it.
give them like a
Hone
bit
that.
more of like a puzzle, right?
Right,
You
right.
know,
Constructive things to like, yeah, hone that like ability to just mazes and stuff like
and
that.
just stop
Really good.
trashing like your own house. Like stop trashing our stuff. Like stop messing with your brother's stuff and all that. Like let's just like you
Right.
need something, right? You know.
Let him know. Like if he doesn't stop the sneaking, taking other people's things, then you will take all of his things.
Yeah.
And dude, hide them, put them in your car, give them to a friend. Just get them, get them away. Don't let him.
Yeah.
Make it
Like I said,
impossible for him to get
just
to them.
put them up high. Just
You've
get them
hid
out of his
Christmas
reach.
gifts, right?
Yeah.
You've hid Christmas gifts. Do the same thing. Put it in your trunk.
Go out and buy him a $10 keyboard that he can have. Here's your keyboard. This is your keyboard. Enjoy it. You know?
Right. All the things he's stealing.
Or maybe he just wants attention too. Like it could
Mm.
just be as simple as like, all right, like let's go out and say, like, let's go play basketball together. And bring the 14-year-old too. Like, hey, no games, like play with your brother for 20
Right.
minutes.
That's like a huge thing, like possessions. Like when they're little, they're like, well, no, I want mine because all these people around me, they have all their own stuff, and I have like my pacifier and my blankie.
Yeah,
You know, like just give him his own thing, his own version.
that's true. And chances are, it probably also just sees the brother on the Xbox, the parents on their phones, and then it's
Right.
like, hey,
He's like, I get the TV.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Come play with me. Like it, and they, little kids, especially around like 6 and stuff, are gonna look up to like what like the older kids around them, whether it's a good example or not. Like they want the approval of the older kids,
Always.
and it's probably tough for like a 14-year-old to really like. They're going like 14. No, thank you. If there was like
No.
one time in my life I wouldn't go back to, it would be 14 because that,
No.
like, I
14
thought high school was a
sucks.
blur, but like 14 was just like, who remembers
Freshman and
any of it?
sophomore year was a slog.
Yeah, it's like you're either
95
growing or you're
sucked.
not growing, or your voice or everything is just jumbled up.
Where some things are growing and some things aren't at the same time.
Yeah, you're like,
Can we all catch up?
can we all
Could
just catch up?
everybody
And then all of a
catch up?
sudden, you're fine.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're like, hey,
The kid
wanna go
started
French in the woods?
French.
In the woods. It's sort of just like bushes. in the
Well, there
suburbs.
wasn't. That was the other thing. Like the one thing you forget about, like when you're younger, is like you don't have privacy, like anywhere. Like all you did, like in high school, was try to find a private area, right? Like all we were doing was like, all right, like let's
My
like,
basement.
yeah, your basement, like a car, like anything, and not always to just like make out, but to like just go, just have
be.
privacy, just to like be able to like hang out and speak. Like that's why I would go to like a Friendlies or something and like hang out, but you still weren't like private, right? Like you didn't have a
Dude.
place to call your own.
Like I remember when I got to college, I was like, oh yeah. Like I'm not just like sleeping over. Like I'm just like here now.
I'm here. Like this is it.
It took me like a long time to be like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Not like I want to go do anything crazy, but like, there is no parent that's going to say, no, don't do that. 3 a.m, if I want to go to Walmart, no one will stop me.
And you have to deal with the consequences of it too. And you have to think up what you want to do. Right. Like, so if you're just like sitting there at the beginning of the night and you're like, I have to go find a party, I guess.
It was the beginning stages. It was the beginning stages of letting future John down. Remember breaking promises to myself. I break promises to future John every night. You know why? I can't get in trouble.
Yeah. That's his problem. The worst at like our age is like, just to go back to the title of the podcast, is like if you do leave your dishes out, like like when you've had like the longest day ever and there's like dishes and like you both just kind of look at each other and you're like I can't possibly
Dude, the
do
last
that
week I've had, and I have those dishes down there right now. And I have a cut right here.
I saw that.
It's the best place to have a cut.
Were you rollerblading?
No, we were.
Sorry, it's just like the perfect injury. It's just like the perfect spot for.
I imagine myself falling in rollerblades, and
that's the one spot that would hit.
We were like, we were like painting, but like with wet chalk. If you like kind of soak chalk and make it wet, it kind of gets like almost like paintish, and then you can kind of like rub it and mix the colors together. And I was going a little crazy, Bob Rossi, and I sliced my hand. I slashed my hand.
So it's like a paper cut, like a.
It's sort of, yeah. It's like a blistery.
Oh.
Like a blister.
Friction. Yeah.
Yeah, it's friction.
Jeez.
But it sucks on the mouse.
Yeah.
All day, clicking away. All the little.
You gotta go left. Yeah. You have to figure out how to switch.
I can go left. I can do that.
Your productivity would drop to like 5% if you tried to all of a sudden. You should try it. There's a way
I
to
think I
change
could
it,
do
like
it.
in Windows too. Like you can change the mouse to like a left-handed mouse. You should try it. You can probably pull it off for a little bit, but I'm gonna like something's gonna. That would be a good experiment. I'd like to see
Yeah,
you do
I'd
it.
have to work really, really slow.
Yeah,
Otherwise, yeah, I'm making so many copy paste errors.
you could just wear a glove. Probably be fine. Just wear a glove.
Dude, I had such like a ghetto makeshift band-aid on today because like the only way to get the band-aid to stay on is to like tape band-aids together and wrap it all the way around my hand
Yeah.
so that it doesn't fall off, because this is just all the perspiration, like the band-aid just has no chance on the palm of your hand without like secured on the back of your hand.
Did you have you ever tried liquid bandages?
No, I mean, I know of them, but I've never tried them.
It might be a good solution for that
Oh yeah,
because it'll
because they
like
just like dry.
it'll like seal it up.
Yeah, it takes like a couple
It kind
minutes
of
and it
makes you feel
dries.
it's like what you used to do
It's
with
almost
Elmer's
magic.
glue,
Oh geez.
but like to the millionth degree
Yeah.
of sealing it up.
Yeah,
Uh,
Hannah got that on her chin instead of stitches. It's Mockingbird.
Mock.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was watching Major League.
Oh,
Uh, I think somebody posted like some sort of like edited together baseball like collage of all the different baseball movies, like all the baseball movies, like from The Natural to The Sandlot to Rowan Gardner to
no way.
and Major League was in there, and I was like, oh man, I got to go back and watch Major League because it's definitely like another like I think because I saw the Naked Gun cut like the remake announcement and stuff, and I was like, oh, like I want to kind of go back to like those old
Mm,
genre of movies where like the premise is so paper thin. Like the premise
right,
is
they just copy any movie.
it's just like the owner wants them to fail. That's it. That's the whole thing. And then somehow they're able to build a whole new like
Oh, right,
baseball
yeah.
team, but they're actual baseball players. Like the thing I don't get is like she wants them to fail, but she actually picks real baseball players that like all had a chance, that all have skills.
Right. She thinks they're all like washed up though. Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, but they're
She's
all
like, you're
they're
all
all washed up.
losers.
But it's
You're
so
all
good, and
nobodies.
the guy that does like the announcer is just
Bob Euchre.
uh, that's
He's
like the
amazing.
that's like the glue of the movie. Like
He saves the second one.
if he wasn't there, oh yeah, I just started the second one too because like I'd be lost. I never saw the first one, so I watched. I mean, I had seen the first one, but I watched the first one and then, but he just was definitely like the glue that held that together. Like his lines were just so smooth and like I think the way that the comedy worked was because he announced like an actual announcer. Like he
It
announced
was,
like you're
yeah.
actually listening to the radio. It wasn't like in like dodgeball or something like that where they kept just kind of like making jokes over and over. Like he was still being like
Oh, right, yeah.
radio classy, but like he just had like little, like he's like, oh, the TP team or something. Like he just kind of had these like little blurbs, in the midst of it, like where it's like sarcasm and stuff like that. But
And
he's still announcing perfectly acceptable. But it was just so funny.
and Tanaka's gonna need a rocket up his ass to catch this one. Another home run by Parkman. Yeah, like he's calling baseball, but like saying so many funny, ridiculous things. And his
Yeah.
performance like spawned like a couple movies that like had an announcer, a couple sports movies that had an announcer that has like every line is an A plus.
Yeah.
Like John Candy,
Oh
John
yeah,
Candy in Rookie of the Year.
right.
So funny.
I think it also worked because it's like since the team was failing, like the idea is that nobody's listening anyway, right? Like nobody cares, like
Right.
nobody's showing up to the game. So it also like makes sense that he can
Hates
say
it.
whatever he wants because
Right.
nobody's gonna care, you know?
Right. They don't matter. The owner's trying to get rid of them.
Yeah.
They're he's like drinking.
Yeah, he's
He
got
like
like the
saves
bottle
them.
of Jack right there. He just keeps pouring it.
He's even great in the second one.
What do you think about Liam Neeson for the remake of Naked Gun?
Oh, they're remaking it with him?
I mean, I don't see
He's
why they have to
fine.
remake it. I don't see why they couldn't just make
Redo
like a
it.
fourth one or like I don't see why
Yeah.
it has to be a remake. It's kind of its own series anyway.
Is it? But they're saying it's like Naked Gun, or is it Naked Gun 4, or are they going to just give it a weird name?
They said Naked Gun
17.
remake, and I don't know if he's going to be like Frank Drebin. I feel like they could just make him a new person, you know?
Right. Like they're just going to use the name.
Like it was Police Squad, like was the show, right?
Yeah. Right. It was a spinoff of Police Squad.
I feel like they should just get a different. It shouldn't be Naked Gun. It should just be like some other name from the files of Police Squad, right? Like just continue it, but just make a new character. Like I don't. You could still do the dry pan humor. I don't know.
I mean, Leslie Nielsen was just so good. I don't know why. There was just something about him that was almost like cartoonish.
I think it was just
And
like lightning in a bottle. Like it was just by
Leslie
chance.
Nielsen,
Yeah.
Liam Neeson. I mean, what are they doing with the LN there?
They're trying to trick us.
Yeah, it was lightning in a bottle, dude. It was like, and then he did, or I mean, not hot. It was like Hot Shots. You know, like those movies were just at that time for some reason. Whoever like wrote all those movies, they were like, "Yo, this is the funniest thing right now. Hurry up and make it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be funny, and the people that see it will think it's funny forever. Hurry, 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 hurry!" Like it's crazy, and it's so weird because there hasn't been anything like it. So I'm like, how is this gonna be? I like Liam Neeson, but I mean, 71. Like, what if it's huge? I guess they'll just recast. Oh, Seth MacFarlane.
Well, I
and
mean,
Lonely
like
Island. I mean, they're funny.
Liam Neeson was up there too, and so was what's his name, who played the president in Hot Shots. Like they were pretty old.
Leslie Nielsen.
Or although Leslie Nielsen, his I remember he said something about like his hair went white when he was like 20 or something like that. Like he was like a leading man, and then like his hair went white, and that kind of like propelled his acting career because it was kind of like a unique thing. Like not everybody's hair was obviously
so
like
yeah,
bright
that's
white.
like what it was like. How old is he? Steve Martin? Like, what is he?
Got one of these like
Who are they-
stink bugs or something. It's like huge. It's distracting.
They
I'm trying to catch it.
Seth MacFarlane is producing it. Other than Family Guy, I'm like, and Ted, I guess. Yeah, Seth. He's got two iconic things. All right, I'm dozing.
I trapped a bug.
Brother. Oh, did you?
Yeah,
A stinky?
I think it's a stink bug.
I'm gonna go feed my mockingbird.
Mock.
To kill.
Anyway, sorry. Didn't mean to like drift off there at the end, but
I'm
it was
gonna
like
piece. I'm gonna go.
It was crawling like right by my thing here, so I trapped it in my glass.
Is it a ladybug?
Stinky poo. All right. Well, I had fun. I think I like our advice column.
Me too.
I think that's pretty fun.
Yeah, let's keep that up. But let's get let's make sure the people posting it know. Like I am the merch. Something. Text them a link. Just send them a link.
I'll send them a transcript. I don't know how that works, but yeah, I'll have to make an account or something. All right. Good night, brother. Love you.
Love you, man. Pay.